Hello everyone, I'm Adam Papagan and welcome to There's a Place, the ASMR talk show, the quiet show that feels good to hear. I love on this show and just in my personal life, I love anything that is illuminating and shines a different perspective on something, its own unique thing. So this past Saturday I went on a guided tour of bollards. Bollards are those cement posts. You'll see, they're really everywhere. They're parking garages, near guardrails, just, the cement posts, loading docks. They're everywhere. And so this guy named Andrew did a guided tour. He showed us all the different kinds of bollards. They're different sizes. They're placed haphazardly. And it was really interesting to see somebody with such enthusiasm for a mundane thing. I learned a lot about bollards, and I was reflecting on bollards. And we're all sort of bollards in a way. We're placed on the edge of society and all the same, but all a little bit different, all waiting there just to stand in people's way, tell them where they can and cannot go, and waiting to be discovered and appreciated. On that note, there's two things I love in art, or in anything in life. It's traditional things that are very normal, and then things that are totally unique, doing their own thing. When you can meld those two things, it's a beautiful thing. So there's people with these big personalities, and you want to uncover them. What I'm trying to say, I guess tonight, a comedian, but also a scientist, possibly. I was reading his. Well, I just got to bring him out. Atelston Fitzgerald Halder the First. Hey, it's a thousand. So
Thank you for having me.
The reason I was having trouble introducing you was your Facebook page. It lists like 100 different things that you do. Like, I know you through comedy, the open mic circuit. We'll get into that. Mm-hmm. But like the first thing, your first credit on Facebook is physics.
Yeah.
What are you a physicist?
Not in the strictest sense. Is this too loud, or I should tone it down? Or this is
good.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Well, not in the strictest sense, but I do have a deep-seated infatuation for how things work on a molecular level. So.
And also linguistics.
Yeah, linguistics.
Do you speak a lot of different languages?
Not psycho and sociolinguistics, but more like the subsets, the different branches, and primarily the role it plays in humor. So linguistics has different branches outside being bilingual and trilingual and the study of different languages. So.
And musicology.
Yeah.
You do acoustic guitar playing.
Yeah, well, I write, compose, arrange, transpose, I have a fundamental understanding of how music works. And
you lecture on all these subjects?
Yeah, because all of these fields intertwine at some given point. If you get into music, you're going to encounter phonology, which is a branch of linguistics that studies sound, and music is sound. And if you study in what is sound, if an A chord is 440 hertz, and you double 440 hertz is basically cycles per second, so number of wave vibration. So we've just transcended beyond music into physics. So they overlap at some given point in different areas.
Okay. But you're maybe more known So you do all this, but you also have a YouTube channel called Mr. Pregnant.
Yeah.
Where you like sing and dance with your shirt off?
Yeah, Mr. Pregnant is a metaphor for full of it. It's kind of Mr. Pregnant was primarily created to materialize the abstract concepts I had. So I wanted to give a visual. If I wanted to illustrate visual sarcasm, the concept of Mr. Pregnant is the perfect embodiment to materialize these ideas.
But I mean, it's at its core though. It's you without a shirt on, and you're saying like you're making up songs over, like well-known backing tracks.
Yeah.
How do you reconcile the very philosophical part of you with also this really absurdist side? There's like, what I'm trying to say is, there's more than just two Atelstons. There's like an Atelston, Fitzgerald, the Halder. And the first, it's like you have a lot of things going on.
Yeah, it's multidimensional. There's a disparity in my work. No two videos are the same. One may incorporate irony, sarcasm, absurdity, surrealism. I mean, it's a long list. A prime example is the video Big Girls Don't Cry. Right, that particular video encompasses at least 5 irony. You remember you have at least 5 primary ironies. You have dramatic, situational, verbal, tragic, and Socratic, which we will explore in more details if you would like to know. But Big Girls Don't Cry is a 370-pound individual at that given point in time crying. Situational irony is a male crying. Situational irony, too, is this stereotypically African-American, supposedly aggressive individual, but he's crying again. So it encompasses at least 4 or 5 different sorts of situational irony and verbal irony, because the fact that I'm crying is a verbal aspect of the video. So invariably, it'll go viral. Now, how do we deal with the philosophical aspect of it? It's less philosophy and it's more exploring linguistic devices, taking these abstract concepts and materializing them. And a lot of these things were done inadvertently. And by me learning more and acquiring more information, I got a sense of awareness of what I was doing.
So you think your work is pretty calculated then?
Invariably, no. It's more intuitive. It's more. With me, it's more of the experience. I don't get any joy of things that are preconceived or conjured up.
So do you kind of create something or like make a video of you without your shirt on, and then you look at it and you're like, oh, that's what all these things mean? Does that justification that you just laid out kind of come after analyzing it?
It's the equivalent to, here's a perfect musical metaphor or analogy, where jazz musician explores the dissonance in sound. It's out of key, but it's, technically it's in key, but in dissonance. But they're freestyling. It's intuitive. But they kind of have a fundamental understanding of how music works.
Got it.
They know the major, the minor, the diminished, the augmented, that sort of stuff. So there's a sense of awareness and there's a sense of unawareness occurring simultaneously. Am I too loud? I should tune my voice down.
Whatever soft is to you.
Okay, sorry.
Because when I see you at the open mics, you talk about it very loudly.
Mm-hmm.
It's you do I like call them jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never like tell any stories, or you never talk about any philosophy or scientific stuff in your act. How come?
Humor is more of an experience, and it's sort of unpredictable, and the ambiguity prevails at the spur of the moment. So if I engage the stage with any particular dialogue in mind, it may change. It may deviate if a glass falls, or someone yells or chuckles too hard. So the humor itself is predicated on an experience, not any particular format, which is hard to explain when you're in the moment. so.
So, I just, when we came here, we're getting ready, Ben, who works on the show, complimented you on your hair.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you about it. It's very long.
Yeah.
Does that, you called it a exercise in perseverance.
Say again?
You called it an exercise in perseverance, was that the word? you
Yeah,
used?
someone asked, the most pervasive question is asked is how long did it take you? And time, this is a result of perseverance and diligence. It has little to do with time. Time is a natural phenomenon in physics that will occur regardless of if I have the hair or not. And I justify this logic with a proficient musician or virtuoso can excel to that point in 5 years or a decade or 2 decades. You've seen musicians who play for 2 decades and they were average. So it's less about time and more about perseverance and diligence.
Okay, how much perseverance and diligence
Right.
did
Yeah,
it take?
I took that question into consideration. Yeah, I feel like I
to grow your hair?
Really? A lot.
Because it's long.
A lot. It's a time-consuming process. It's a cumbersome, time-consuming process.
Decades?
Yeah, at least.
Do you remember the last time you got your hair cut?
No.
You don't.
Honestly lost track.
So you didn't set out to say, like, okay, I'm never getting my hair cut again.
Oh no. It's equivalent to the bodybuilders in the gym. They stop counting reps. With them, it's more about the burn.
No, but you didn't. There wasn't no like day where you're like, oh, it's my last. I guess not. Because you always have kind of long hair.
Yeah, no.
Like, do you remember what it's like? Because I don't have any hair.
Yeah.
So I remember the snips from scissors, or like the buzz right around your ear.
Yeah.
Do you remember that at all?
No. If you look at the YouTube in 2005, you'll see where the hair was just below my shoulder. If
So
you
10
look at my
years.
videos from 2005 back, the decade, you proceed back annually, you would see the incremental growths as it grow and grow. You'll see it. So it's a process. It's a long process.
There's one that's like extra long.
Yeah.
Was you growing that one longer? How'd that one get so long? Is that the one?
It's the mysterious one. This is the enigma.
And so did you ever have to like braid it or?
I don't. At this length, it'll break because it's long.
It just does it itself?
Well, the root is fragile, so I can't twist it. I have to just let it take its natural course.
Oh, okay, so it's all natural.
I hope so.
No, but I'm
hope
saying
so.
you don't.
No, I don't. No.
That's the
just let
natural
it-
state of your hair.
I let it
if
take
you were
its
living
natural
in,
course.
a caveman or something.
Well, this is the best condition it can ever be in. It took me an hour to make it look neat.
Oh wow. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, but beyond these doors, it's extremely uncivilized.
I like it.
Thank you.
What about sleeping?
Uh-huh.
You have to like.
No, it's an easy process, simple process.
That's still around you.
Yeah.
What's the biggest bummer about having such long dreadlocks?
You become oblivious to it. It's the equivalent of being 7 feet tall.
Why I bump my head sometimes?
Hmm?
I'm pretty tall. I bump my head sometimes. It's a very real problem.
Yeah.
A lot of perseverance.
Well, you don't persevere over biological advantages. Right, those are things you were born with. It's ingrained in you, so you have no control over that. So no perseverance is required to be 7 feet tall.
That's it. Well,
There's perseverance required to stay safe.
you gotta drink milk.
Say again?
You gotta drink milk if you're
I
that tall.
I
You
love
gotta
milk.
avoid osteoporosis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's some perseverance.
Yeah.
So you have an accent,
Mhm.
the West Indian accent.
I was
From
born in the West Indies.
West Indies.
Grew up in between New York and London.
Okay,
So I spent 90% of my life traveling.
got it. What did your parents do that allowed you to travel so much, or caused you to travel so much?
And my parents,
Uh-huh.
I would not discuss my parents on this show.
Okay,
Yeah. For a number of reasons.
okay. Can you give us any of those reasons?
No particular reason in particular.
But so there's like reasons that are even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
But so you guys were all traveling around.
Myself. I
You were
traveled
traveling
most of my life.
So New York and London.
New York, UK, London, and probably within the last 7 or 8 years, I've been traveling across the U.S. At least 42 U.S. states between the East and West Coast, with exception to the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, how come not the Pacific Northwest?
Oh, no particular reason.
You don't like rainy weather?
Yeah. No particular reason other than the fact that I haven't had the opportunity.
Okay, cool. So you're a man of the world.
Yeah.
The world is your home.
Oh, yeah. Either or. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite? So you traveled so much.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite place you've been to?
None. I appreciate each place for what it has to offer.
Any highlights? Any highlights?
None. Other than most of these traveling and experiences were project based, So it was less to do with social interaction and more to do with business and getting.
Got it. So you were just at work. And,
yeah.
What kind of projects?
Usually stuff in academia.
Okay.
So maybe I may have to do a talk. Maybe I may be freelancing for a private equity firm or venture capitalist, angel investor. So sometimes the job may be contingent on me traveling elsewhere.
So these are, again, like kind of like really your interests or your skills are really all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Private equity. I noticed another one of your credits on Facebook, stock market.
Mm-hmm.
So you just do it all.
Well, not really. I mean, these.
Like, is there anything you couldn't do? Any kind of discipline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a million things I can do. All these fields are within a very small context, Music is physics.
Got it.
Right. Investments is economics. Once you're dealing with investment, you're dealing with economics, you're dealing with physics.
Right, so it's just a spin on your general knowledge as Atelston.
Yeah, if I'm going to write, compose, and arrange music, I mean, I might as well study what is sound. Sound travels 700 miles an hour. It is the collision of air molecules. So I would like to know what occurs on a molecular level when sound travel. So being able to write and compose music, understanding the physics of music is inevitable. It helps you embody music as a whole far more effectively. Here's one of the phenomena in music is octaves. Why we hear octaves, it turns out that we hear logarithmically, meaning that the human ear interprets sounds in increments. So when you hear A chord, primarily is 440 hertz. That is the number of waves that occurs per cycle. Hertz was actually named after a person. When you double the frequencies, 440 hertz, you get 880. So you have a higher frequency, right? But it's the same sound. It constitutes an octave. To understand this in music, you have to study physics, right? Now, physics and music are mutually exclusive, But once you're dealing with the sound of music, you go in and dwell into the collision of air molecules.
So you're traveling all over the world lecturing on, these...
Not lecturing, but mostly writing and working for companies.
Writing, okay. So you just get gigs related to knowing a lot about all these subjects and being able to explain them and talk
Being
about
able to
them.
solve problems.
Okay.
I have a gift to solve problems.
But then when you're not doing that, comedy.
Yeah.
So what got you interested in comedy?
Yeah, I'm a comedian. Comedians have real comedians have above average high IQs. Comedians are witty, astute individuals, no exceptions.
Who are some of your favorite comedians?
No one.
Growing
No comedians interest me at all.
No comedians, because I noticed that you never watch any other comedians.
I've watched a few, but I don't have any interest in any comedians whatsoever. I'm more interested in my innovation and what I could create. I'm more interested in what I'm capable of creating. I don't have an interest in comedians at all.
Then why do comedy?
I mean, I could compose music. I've never had an infatuation for any particular music. I think you could appreciate a concept or a field without having an infatuation with an individual, because these things are mutually exclusive. You have Beethoven and you have music. It's two different sort of study. So you could extract Beethoven's and Mozart and Bach, you could extract their concepts and their ideas, but you could have no interest in individuals themselves.
So but comedy is made by individuals. Like, how did you first hear about comedy?
Well,
Or decide
comedy
that you
is
wanted
not
to do stand-up comedy?
Well, comedy is not made by individuals in the strictest sense. Humor is an emotional attribute. And humor on a fundamental level is the ability to evoke laughter. So it's more of an emotional attribute. So someone can evoke laughter or be funny or have an infatuation for humor without being interested in some comedian who is some prominent comedian in the industry.
So what aspects of humor then, if it's not individuals or specific jokes, do you like?
How it works, the irony, the sarcasm, the ambiguity, the paradoxes, the situational irony, the absurdity. So there's just so many, the phonological aspect of humor. When a person makes a sarcastic statement, a sarcasm is a literal statement, right? But it is interpreted metaphorically. It has contrasted interpretation. This contrast derives from tone. Has nothing to do with the literal statement. It's just the tone that contrasts the sarcastic statement. And this is phonology, a branch of linguistics that deals with sound. So when humor is evoked, you could study the humor and you could see where it derived from. And it has to do with the intonation, the rise and fall in the tone that evoked the laughter. So that's my interest.
It's the actual physical sounds of the comedy,
No.
not the jokes themselves?
It's the same.
The tone, it's the same, okay.
The laughter derives from the tone. If you make a condescending statement, is a result of tone. It's a literal statement, but the contrasting interpretation derives from tone. So once we understand what condescension is on a rudimentary level, we know that this is a result of tone. When you study phonology has two branches basically. You have segmental and you have suprasegmental, or also known as prosody. It's a field of linguistics that explores intonation, inflection, modulation, and cadence. All it does, it takes literal statements and it studies the rise and fall, and what occurs in human cognition in terms of how we interpret literal statements differently.
Do you have like a spreadsheet with like all these different ideas about comedy, or like an algorithm or something?
No, it just
You
makes
just plug in?
it just makes perfect sense. When you think about it, it makes sense.
But you're looking at these laws that are inherent in comedy, like however. Seems like you could generate them almost with like a mathematical formula.
No, these are not inherent laws. In physics, there's inherent law. They have something in physics called immutable deductive law. Immutable deductive law are phenomena that it's going to occur regardless of my or your subjective view. Right? These are ideas and concepts that just exist in an objective sense. Right? In humor, it's from a completely different perspective. What linguistics does, it gives us the ability to unravel it. It allows us to understand how the laughter derived and what is sarcasm. So it's not really a mathematical equation or an algorithm. It's just a tool. It's just a tool to allow us to unravel, demystify this sort of enigma. Like someone who make a sarcastic statement or condescending statement and it hurts, but you can't figure out why. So this is where language comes in. So it's not a formula, it's just a tool to help us understand how things work on a fundamental level.
So what's your writing process? Okay, so we should give the background, because your act is not this persona that you see before you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of louder, would you say?
Mm-hmm. On stage?
Yeah. It's more direct.
Mm-hmm.
So, like a sample joke, one I heard you had a mic that I liked a lot is you put a DVD in the river so you could stream it.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your joke? Is that how it went?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, what's your writing process like for a joke like that?
I don't write. Humor is an experience. I can't go on stage with preconceived notions. So if I go on stage with material, it's counterproductive because I have to have a new experience. So is the audience. Whatever the audience experience, I must have it too. So I don't get a joy from conjuring up stuff before I go on stage. There's no joy in that for me. I have to experience the newness of it. So if I come up with something and I like it, I'll go with it. But my objective is not about writing for humor.
Yeah, it's about doing it for what's behind doing it.
It's about knowing that I'm very well capable of being consistent and effective. I know I'm capable of evoking laughter.
So when you're on stage and you like do that like DVD joke, you just thought of that?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting joke, because there's something called you have lexical ambiguity, you have syntactic, you have structural, you have grammatical, you have punctuational ambiguity, and stream is a lexical ambiguity. Lexical ambiguity is basically when a word has multiple interpretations, where the noun precedes the verb or the verb precedes the adjective. But in this context, you're dealing with a verb. Stream is a verb or an adjective. Stream, it's stream. Stream is a verb. But then you have a metaphor.
Sure.
Because streamed is used as a metaphor virtually. So you have...
Yeah, no, right. We get it. There's two meanings of stream.
Right. One is the verb, and one is the metaphor.
And on stage, you just were like thinking about DVDs, and you thought of that in the moment, so that you would have the same experience as the audience. Mm-hmm. Like you never redo jokes.
I don't think on stage. I just do it.
Well, one time though, I saw you had an iPad or something with stuff. Mm-hmm. I guess that wasn't planned. You were just like playing a song and singing.
Yeah, exploring my horizon. I figure humor is multifaceted. And we've only scraped the surface, so why not explore different horizons?
So, admittedly, you're not interested in comedy specifically as much as you are humor. You're not interested in the comedy scene. You're not interested in comedians. You're not interested in other jokes.
No, I never said that. You asked a very specific question. You asked me who's my favorite comedian.
Oh, okay.
I said I have no favorite comedian.
No favorite.
Yeah. You asked me who's my favorite comedian. I said I have no favorite comedian. I'm not interested in individuals. Yeah. I'm more interested in ideas and concepts and how things work.
Yeah, that's what you said. So yeah, I didn't mean to put words in your mouth.
Oh, no, not at all.
But
I'm not infatuated by an individual performing. I'm more infatuated with the concept and idea of humor itself.
Okay. Yeah, but there's no individuals. You're not into individuals or anything?
Not one of my deepest interests, no.
So why... doing an open mic, for those people who don't know, you gotta get there early sometimes and sign up, and wait around to get drawn. Doesn't it get boring for you, like just being outside? I mean, it gets boring at the open mic, just sitting there, but...
Yeah, well,
outside, like, don't you want to hear other people doing the, being sarcastic and
I work 24.
Changing their tone, causing the contrast.
Well, I work 24 hours, so I'm pretty certain if you've seen me 99.9% of the time, I'm on my iPad. So it's time invested. It's never time wasted. So if I'm in an environment where it takes 7 hours to get on stage, I could capitalize on that immensely. So it's never really time wasted. The time could be utilized elsewhere, especially if you go to an environment where it's Wi-Fi accessible, right?
Are you concerned at all with getting better at comedy? Or is it just about doing it?
I am excelling. I'm consistent. I haven't bombed in months. all previous shows I've done have excelled above and beyond comprehension. So I feel like I'm becoming more in tune with who I am as an individual. I think I am probably, if not the only individual who found his voice. I found my voice. I know I found my voice.
And that voice is different from the one who pursues physics and academia?
I'm multi-dimensional.
Got it.
I am capable of transcending into different characters. So we could walk with that on, I'll be a completely different person. With me, it's not about a character. With me, it's about transcending into different phases.
Different phases. Does it ever get exhausting? Or do you ever have trouble keeping it straight?
It's the equivalent to asking a person who is high functioning autism, how could they do what they do? Or why they're incapable of socializing? Or asking a psychopath, how are you capable of mimicking social cue? Or asking someone who have social dysfunction, why are you incapable of mimicking social cue? So you're asking some deep-seated biological questions that I can't answer. So who I am as an individual, I can't break it down and dissect it and put it into perspective for you. I could only say, this is who I am, this is what I am. And answers beyond that, this point you'll have to ask a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I don't know, an expert.
You're good at giving answers.
Really?
Yeah. Have you always been? Like you can just, you can really talk your way around a subject.
I think you're asking the right questions. You're asking questions pertaining to myself. Right. I know myself better than anyone else. I spend 90% of my time alone. So I'm very introspective. So if it's anyone that's in tune with who I am as an individual, it's myself. So and I'm more of an introvert. I'm more aloof, introverted, right. Sort of socially inept by choice. Because there's things I would rather do that I find far more intriguing than interact. Although interaction is fun. So you're dealing with someone who is on point in terms of who he is as an individual. So yes, so there's no questions you could ask that I am incapable of answering.
When did you first realize you had that skill?
Is that a sarcastic question?
Of introspection.
Solitude does that. Solitude, peace, spending time alone, trying to understand who you are as an individual, exploring your creative side, finding the things that you enjoy doing and pursuing it as if your life depends on it. These sorts of human elements sort of emanate in deep introspection. And then you get to a point where you enjoy it.
What's your favorite thing to do by yourself?
Can I say it on national television? I don't know.
No.
Humor is my primary goal. Humor.
So that's what you
Comedy.
wanted?
I'm obsessed with comedy. Obsessed is my obsession. Comedy is what led me to everything else. Everything else is a result of comedy.
It led you to linguistics?
Yeah.
Comedy did?
Yeah.
Because you just wanted to know everything about comedy.
I have a desire to know how things work. I want to know what it's like. Why do we see color? Why is the sun red when it's set below the horizon? Why is objects transparent? How does a microphone work? Right? What is ultraviolet? What is infrared? So these are things that attract my desire. So yeah, I'm sort of wired in a way to just just explore that sort of curiosity and know how things work.
So going forward then, no time is wasted. You like being alone, you're on your iPad, you're doing stuff, you're pursuing all these different things. Mm-hmm. Is there one of the things that you hope works out more than another?
Well, they're all working out. I'm extremely successful. Not certain if I'll use the term rich because I prefer wealth.
What's the difference between being rich and being wealthy?
5, 10, 15, 20 million is not wealthy, it's rich. Right. I would say the first billion is wealthy. So I'm not wealthy,
Oh, so you don't mean it as like a metaphorical thing?
No, it's a literal
wealthy is,
statement that I'm
good friends
Yeah.
and enjoying your time. No, it's not that. Wealth is a dollar amount.
I'm referring to, I'm speaking in digits only.
So, being really rich.
Yeah, I'm successful, but I'm not wealthy. So
you're not really, really rich.
I'm not wealthy.
Wealthy. Okay.
Rich is not my goal. Wealth is.
Wealth.
My goal is to be able to buy 1 million shares, 1 million of Google shares. Google shares trade at how much? $784 per share. But the company is called Alphabet now. So if I could buy 1 million shares of Google shares, then I would feel comfortable that I'm wealthy. So anything below wealth is just not that big of a deal.
So you just want to be rich?
I would like to be wealthy. It's one of those attainments.
It's the same.
Rich and wealthy?
Yeah, when you're talking about that much money.
It's not the same. Someone could have 10, 15. Listen,
numbers, though.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
60 billion. He owns a multinational conglomeration.
Yeah, but he still got divorced like a couple years ago.
Right, but
like he's still like, there's some things money can't buy is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Atelston.
Well, that's a different subject. Yeah. That's a different subject. So,
would you keep doing comedy then if you got to a point where you're wealthy?
Well, I became successful doing comedy. My success is a result of humor, primarily only. Right. So, 300 million plus online views, monetize all my content, tons of network opportunities. So 99.9% of my opportunities derive from humor and comedy.
Are you ever giving a lecture or like writing a proposal or helping with investment and then they dig up your Mr. Pregnant videos and you have to explain them?
This is what's intriguing. Because one time I got hired by this private equity firm and I worked with this billionaire philanthropist. He said, the reason why we are intrigued by you, it is because of the disparity. So here they read in a paper on quantum electrodynamics, the relationship between light, right, and matter. And then they're looking at a viral video with me shaking my boobs. So, but it shows two things. It shows that I'm skilled in two areas. They're able to advertise, market, and promote and create viral videos. Right. And all investors inevitably want two things. They want to make money. They want to turn their ideas or concepts into something lucrative, which is a result of advertising, marketing, and viral. So that's what they're interested in, numbers. So it's self-evident that the concept works because it became viral. So there's an underlying mechanism in terms of how these things work.
You have an answer for him. You have an answer for him.
Yeah, it's self-illustrated. Yeah. Here's what
you can answer any question.
Huh?
You can answer any question.
Not necessarily. I'll put it this way. If I write a paper on music, chromatic scales, diatonic scales, chord construction, I'll make a video and illustrate it. So I'm coming from two different perspectives. So you're not going to read a paper and say, well, maybe he plagiarized this. Maybe it's verbatim. Maybe he extracted this from somewhere else, regurgitating someone else's work. But yet you have the visual attributes involved, right? So this is how I circumvented all my rivalry, and I always had opportunity because I have the text and I have the illustration. So I'm capable of illustrating what I can do also. So this is the primary reason how the opportunities derive.
We're almost out of time. There are two questions though.
We out of time?
Almost. There's two questions I wanted to get to. I think
it's 50 minutes?
Yeah. We end at 5:12. Trust me. There's only a few minutes left. There's two questions I wanted to get to.
Okay.
And everyone's going to ask. First of all, the first, the end of your name, Atelston, Fitzgerald Holder, the first.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that doesn't start till like second or third. Mm-hmm. Why did you decide to add the first to your name?
Because it's a perfect illustration. This is how I lead all my lectures out, primarily with illustrating a situational irony. Because no one puts the first. And the fact that I assign the first to my name illustrates a situational irony. So it's the perfect demonstration to show a person as an introduction to situational irony. Not dramatic, not verbal, not Socratic, not tragic, just situational irony. The situational irony is primarily the contrast of what's expected or anticipated. And the first illustrates that.
And then the last question. I was looking at all your papers that you posted on your Facebook page. You had one about Fozzie Bear being, he was funny by not being funny. He was really over the top. Do you kind of relate to that a little bit? Is that one of your multi-dimensions?
No, I emulate no one. I only emulate me.
Do you think you have anything in common with Fozzie Bear then?
No. That's sarcasm or irony? It's an ironic question or a sarcastic question?
What do you think?
I'm so in tune to these devices. It's just so obvious when I hear it. So most of the times I just ignore it and keep speaking. No, I have no. It's about me. I emulate no one. I would let the world, and I don't want the world to emulate me. People need to emulate themselves, and not be emulated by any individual.
Do you kind of relate to Fozzie though at all?
No, not at all. It's a character. It's a fictional character. What I find intriguing is the script and the writer and the abstract concepts.
The nuts and bolts.
And the intriguing aspect of Fozzie being unaware that he is naturally gifted.
But he also has, human qualities. Do you relate to any of those?
Well,
He's an
right.
anthropomorphic bear.
To truly explore Fozzie, we have to personify him. Truly have to personify him. Yeah, he is unaware that he's naturally funny. And to me, that's phenomenal. The ability to write a script, to conjure up an abstract concept and materialize something of that nature and personify that is phenomenal. So it's not about Fozzie Bear. It's not about the writer. It's about this brilliant concept that the mind is cognitively capable of creating that I find truly intriguing.
The concept. It's in the concept.
Yeah.
Will you sign us off with a joke? Can you give us a joke?
Yo. You ready for a joke? Hold on.
Conjure.
Huh?
Conjure.
So, I dropped my DVD in the river. No, I give that joke already, right? Hold on. I have a Google self-driving car. No, I made a mistake. So sorry. Can I start over, please?
Yeah.
So I saw a Google self-driving car, right? I knew it was a Google self-driving car because when I opened the hood, I saw a search engine. That's a good one, right?
That's a great one.
Why couldn't we do this for an entire hour?
Well, maybe next time when you come back.
We wasted a show. We could have been given jokes. Can I give one more?
Yeah.
So I was watching Can I soft, right?
Yeah, softly.
So I was watching porn today, yo. Yeah, salad porn. Yeah, in one scene.
Atelston Fitzgerald Holder the first, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching There's a Place. Until next time.
How could I forget the joke?
This is Adam Papagan reminding you that there's a place you can go.
How did I forget the joke?
And it's your mind. Good night.
How did I forget the joke? Hold on.